Hey guys, it's Alpha Lorraine and welcome to Divine Goddess Beauty. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I know it's been quite some time since I've come on here. I have had so much going on this year in 2022 that I have really taken a step back from a lot of social media and things in regards to my soul work on a certain level. I think in regards to the twin flame community, because I've had so many insights and also a lot of work in my own world as well, and I really want to give this my best foot forward and do exactly what I know is really benefiting my potential clients or students, my members, in my online Ultimate Twin Flame Union Mastery Program on Facebook. You can join for free. Again, it's called the Ultimate Twin Flame Union. On there, I do interact, as much as I can, as far as just really giving daily, inspiration and subliminal, subtle guidance to help shift your focus and perspective in regards to the twin flame journey and your daily, alignment with source energy. I've taken a step back from doing a lot of readings. I still have that open and available for anyone who truly desires to have that, insight. But what I've really come to find with doing a lot of these readings, especially, the twin flame readings on YouTube as well, I felt like as much as I was helping the community, there are a lot of people out there that get addicted to readings, and it's such a kind of, what do you call that? It's such a contradictory sort of thing that you almost have to lure your clientele in by giving them what they're addicted to and looking for, but that's actually not the way to help them, but yet it's the way to grab their attention so that you can actually teach them the real lessons of this journey. And bear with me, by the way. I did just try to record. I recorded almost a whole hour before this, and my computer shut off and started completely over. So I'm gonna, while I'm thinking of this, I'm gonna go into the settings because it did keep turning on the screensaver. So let me see if I can turn the screensaver off, and I will try not to make this go on for such a long time that it completely turns off and does not save the video, because that's exactly what happened here. So let's see, I am going to go into the screensaver. There we go. I'll just set that for an hour so I don't have to worry about that popping up and taking me out of my alignment with the message. But yeah, so a lot of people in this community, you seek guidance, and I totally believe in the power of my readings. I know they provide the guidance needed, but a lot of times I've had so many people that miss the mark with the point of getting a reading. And, it's obviously counter progressive because, you know, you're focused on someone else who is outside of you and you just want to know what's going on with them, when really the whole thing is about you and what your energy is focused upon and what you are creating. And it's not about their circumstances. It's not about what they are doing, because you are perpetually retelling that story and feeding into it. And, you know, your energy is so focused on it that the universe is thinking, okay, this person is really liking this show. Let's keep this rolling. Let's keep creating drama. You know, this is a reflection of you. You are the master of your universe. If you want to say that your twin flame is not paying attention to you, they have a karmic that they are, you know, dating or entertaining, and you're looking at their social media and you're all pissed off, they are literally just creating a movie that matches your frequency. It is not about the other person. When you are you know, the thing with the law of attraction is that, you know, whatever you focus on grows, but also there is lag time, because we are in a physical, dense 3D reality that still has duality constructs. You know, that's not going to go away, guys. That is, you know, until you can truly master, you know, union within, you know, self-union, you know, that's going to keep showing up and keep triggering you as long as it needs to. But, you know, whatever energy you are focused upon, you know, that's what's going to keep showing up. And it's not anyone else's fault. It's you. It's you. Okay. It's all you. And it's totally understandable, because we all are coming from the same, you know, we were all raised in the same dualistic reality. And even though our experiences were different, it's because whatever we chosen to focus on is kind of the path in which our realities unfolded. Because we, you know, innocently forgot our own power at a young age, you know, often even at birth. I even remember, you know, my energy as a baby. I always knew I was all-knowing. I always knew I was, you know, I felt like this old wise soul, but it was just, it radiated out of me through just pure love. I didn't have to teach someone something, you know, to know that they saw that in me. I didn't have to do anything about anything, because I trusted, you know, that we are all on our own journeys. And, you know, I just saw love everywhere, and that's what I experienced for so long. And then, you know, you get, you know, I got about 4 years old and had to go off into preschool and have new experiences, and you know, you just start experiencing more of the world that is outside of your home. And, you know, fortunately for me, I had, you know, a really loving home environment to experience, and that's not something that everyone gets to experience. But I do personally believe that that is a reflection of, you know, my internal energy when I came to this planet, you know, when I was, you know, perceivably born, even though there is no, you know, life or death really, you know, there's just an ongoing and a transfer of energy, you know, but this energy changed within me, because as I started to experiencing more of what was outside of me, I started to see more separation. You know, I didn't feel that same love that I felt from my parents with, you know, maybe other relatives, or, you know, people at school, or teachers or students, and I started seeing their reflections of their realities and how they would. I didn't understand at the time that this was all projections, but I would internalize. I started internalizing what I was seeing outside of me versus remembering, that I'm creating this by putting my focus on it and attaching, judgments and emotions to these things. The more that I became less general and more focused on how things were making me feel based on what they looked like, the more I fed into storylines of these things, growing into something bigger, as I got older. And that's when you start having, insecurities, and your mood shifts, and the longer you hold a specific mood, it becomes a personality trait after so long, and that is just who you identify yourself to be. And I didn't perceive that, and then through, the adolescent years, you just keep experiencing more and more things, and then you get on this snowball and you forget that you are the one that is in the power seat. And then you start chasing something outside of yourself. After some point, I started chasing knowledge. I remember about 13 years old, I started questioning, I wanted to know more about God. Like when I was little, we would go to church every Sunday, and I grew up Catholic. We went to the Catholic churches, and I enjoyed it in the sense of the aesthetics, church itself was quite boring, but I love, the Catholic Church and how, unique and beautiful they can be. And also, my mom, she would love to play like Catholic hymns at home in the kitchen while she'd be, doing things around the house, or sing her Hail Marys and stuff. That was always a nice experience for me, but we never had really talked about God much, even though we went to church. And my parents were married when I was, they were married for about 18 years, and they didn't divorce until I was about 15, but I remember being about 12 years old, and this is when puberty hits, and I started realizing I was having these feelings, and I stopped being so present in the moment. I started realizing, I remember I was doing the dishes one day, and my dad made us do them by hand. We actually had a dishwasher, and he had it removed because he's that type of dad. So he wanted us to do them by hand, which was fine. But I remember doing the dishes, and I just remember looking down at my hands one day, and I just kind of, I don't know if you would call it an out-of-body experience. I guess it would be some sort of, separation of the self. But I remember looking at my hands, I'm like, why am I me? Like, how did I get here? Who am I? Why am I here? Why am I me? And I remember at nighttime, I always had issues with falling asleep at night, and I would wrestle around and kick my feet for hours before I could fall asleep every night. And I remember just talking to God and asking, to learn about God, to learn about life, and, all of those questions, and even like energies in my body, like fears that would come up that didn't feel good. When I was younger, I instinctively knew not to feed into those energies. And then I got to this certain point where it was like, no, I want to explore these. And, that's when the universe started opening up in a not so good light. And I didn't realize that it was all actually because of me at the time. And so if you know much about me, which most of you do not, I actually wound up in a cult for 2 years, grueling years, while I was, I had just turned 13 to right before I turned 16. And it was actually around that time when I was, praying to God about these feelings and wanting answers. And it actually happened in the weirdest kind of way, because my mom had gotten breast implants, and it was her doctor who actually invited her over for a Bible study. It's funny, he, and I'll have to get into this story more, it's very long, but I just want to share the overall general situations that, reflect back to us that we are the ones creating constantly. But yeah, so basically my mom was upset with her surgery because apparently he had done something wrong and she wasn't healing properly. And so he basically told her that she had demons in her and she needed God, or, blah, blah. So he invited her to one of his Bible studies. And so that night she came home, and I thought, this guy's a quack. No way am I letting you go by yourself. Like, my little bold 12-year-old self thought, I could protect her against this crazy person, And so we ended up going, and I had never felt so much love, from this group of people. And I could feel the energy. It was so beautiful, experiencing the energy of God and connection, and learning about God through the Bible and all these things. But nevertheless, one of the biggest things I learned from my teacher, I'm actually going to eat some of these pizza rolls before they get cold. Because I meant to eat earlier, and then I spent that hour making a video that didn't save. But, okay. It's hard to talk and eat pizza rolls at the same time. So, one of the things that he always taught was that the, most powerful thing you can pray for is for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But the greatest of these, I believe it was understanding. And so I prayed that every night for years. And, it was through the cult that I got lost in the dark night of the soul. I believe it was the very last night when I chose to leave. I had lost my power, my voice, and I didn't, understand that. But that was through the brainwashing and the breaking down of the soul that, this teacher, practiced. This is what, happened through the process of that journey. And so I was able to make it out, but I was never the same after that day. I actually got really deathly sick. I got food poisoning the night that I was confronted about leaving, and I was actually across the world. I went to South Africa with him and his wife, who was actually only 2 years older than me. I was 15 at the time, turning 16, and so she was about 18 years old. But he had met her in South Africa, and that's where they got married. So they were able to get the blessing of the parents because he, had done church work with them. So big long story, but yeah. So I was confronted that night after a big dinner, and I was the only one that got sick. And, but they decided, I told them I wanted to go home, basically, and I didn't express my truth to him because, I was told that, to by expressing your truth as a child, you're just basically trying to justify your position. He would always talk about that. But the older I've gotten, the more I realized, my truth was true. And I was being manipulated by not being able to express that truth. And so by me not expressing my truth, it had killed my soul that night. I mean, in one night, and then getting food poisoning, which is oddly, coincidental. I threw up all night long. I was the only one awake, and I mean, it was just awful. And it was after that, I couldn't stop sleeping for years. I mean, even to this day, because of the amount of experiences that I have, I sleep a lot and I enjoy it. I truly, for the first time, I actually feel like I am allowed to allow myself to rest. And so I do that very often, as much as I can. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with getting too much sleep or enjoying yourself, and not having to always do something. From a very young age, I always, even my dad would, wake us up super early, and he'd be in a good mood. He's a morning person. I never was, and that's okay. But he was raised by a strict parent who he thought that, you had to do things a certain way in order to survive on this planet, and it's like a lot of the things that people put onto you are illusions, they're bullshit, and, they try to use tough love to discipline you because they think that the outside world is going to be tough on you, and really your biggest, tough love people are those doing it to you, your parents, those closest to you, those authority figures, and my whole life I always had an authority figure telling me that this is the way, and it was always something that exhausted me, my soul, my body. And but yeah, for years after that, I was always exhausted, and I dealt with several illnesses over the years, and I've healed many of them. I've had I was exposed to black mold, and had a lot of health issues after I got out of the cult. I literally had such severe panic attacks that I lost tons of weight, couldn't eat, or keep food down. I had, eating disorders, and I would just push things down with, I started doing, partying, drinking, doing drugs, and pushing things down, and, eventually got to a place of, having agoraphobia, and, just so much sickness in the body, and, just constant fear. I was constantly feeling like I was dying, and I was able to really overcome a lot of that. And, that's when in my 20s I started trying to learn more about mindfulness and meditation, but it was really, truly coming to a point, during the end of the cult experience, I actually came to this point where I was having dreams I was being attacked by demons every single night. And during that time, I actually lived with, the teacher and his wife, and he actually, was in the process of trying to force the women in the group to, basically cut out everyone in their lives and marry him and live with him. And so that's when a lot of, the members started leaving. And and I was only, 15 at the time. But I'm forgetting where I'm going with this. Okay. Oh, yeah. So it was when I finally moved in with them. I had lived with them for about 3 months, and that's when things got towards the darkest. And I started getting attacked by demons every night in my sleep, because I was just in so much fear because of the end of the world, believing that was glooming, in the future. And I mean, that story can go on for quite some time, but it was all of these fears that I was focusing on and feeling and wanting to understand the truth. He would say things about, like, my best friend was Muslim, and he would say things like, people like that who aren't Christian, they go to hell, and it's like, this person is my friend, and their family is, just like my family. There's so much love. There's nothing that, outside of cultural differences that makes this person evil or not worthy of love from God. And, there were so many other things that brought up these questions in me. And so I started on my own spiritual search, but also because of that point in time, I had lost all, will to live, really. I had no reason to live, and I had to learn to, really practice gratitude in each moment, as much as I just had nothing in me to give. I started just surrendering to the moment. And that's the one thing that I notice throughout my timeline of the spiritual journey, and even into the twin flame journey, is that the moment I surrender and I start to soften my body and quiet my mind and just listen, you start to hear the music. You start to feel again. You start to notice flowers are blooming a little more than they were, the day before. Or, the sun just hits you a little softer. And it's through refocusing on the presence in the now that the now comes back and things quiet again and everything's okay. And then, throughout this process of discovering myself and seeing the dynamic duality and realizing it all came from within me, and I didn't still quite understand it at the time. And that is when I met my twin. And that's when shit just fucking went haywire. And it's like my whole world went into a roller coaster, because not only did I now just immediately awaken to, so much in me that was wrong and in my world, I still was running from it at the same time, because I wasn't getting the point of it all. And, it isn't until the last couple of years that that it's all been discovered, that it's all clicked into place, that it all has stemmed from me. And there is so much grief that I have had to give myself the nurturing, consoling to embrace and allow to come up, and that takes some time too, especially the bigger the lessons, and the longer, the more you have to grieve, because the more you realize how much time you've wasted, and even since then, my mother has passed away, She passed away in 2019, so 3 years ago, and she was the most loving person, in this planet that I've ever known. She was unconditionally loving in such a way that, it just can't really be spoken. I can't put it into words, but I realized I spent all of this time focusing my energy on the outside, that I missed being present with, the ones that truly count. And I was grateful that I had the time to spend with her the last year, because through other health issues that came up that year, the year before, through, my connection with my twin flame, I wanted to create more space in my world for him. And, so I had all these health issues come up. I had ulcerative colitis, and I was bleeding internally, and that caused me to quit my job at a corporate salon and transition into booth running. And I lost 3/4 of my clientele. And that was another reflection of the fear that I was instilled in because of leaving, that reflected back. So I struggled a lot financially by doing that, but it gave me the time to heal my body and to spend with my mom before she passed away. And so there's a lot of grief around that. And even, but I know that there was nothing more I could do outside of everything I was already doing, trying to be everything to everyone else at that time. But, it was in the last couple of years that it's all really clicked. And then, getting hit with COVID and the shutdown when I was really actually launching my coaching business. And it was like the more I thought I was diving into what I was meant to do, the worse things got. And I realized this isn't the lesson. It's not about what I'm doing. It's about what I'm focusing on. And, it's about alignment. It's about, I was so focused on the fear of lack and survival, because I had been in that survival mode for so many years, taking care of other people and just always, barely scraping by and worrying about keeping a roof over my head. And it was like, okay, now I'm in my soul mission, everything's gonna be good, but yet I was still in fear-based energy because I was so attached to my past story. And so by this point, that fear had magnified to such a powerful place that I literally felt like I was going to be swallowed whole. And so I started to surrender more and more, especially at night. It was at nighttime. It would just get me. I couldn't sleep, or if I woke up, it was the instant thing I would think about. And so now I've realized the more that I've stepped back from the mind and trying to figure it all out and freaking out and literally letting myself surrender and just feeling good in my bed sheets and feeling, how soft, my bed was, and having a roof over my head and a comfortable temperature around me, and having the sweetest little fur baby who loves to cuddle with me at night. I had so much to be grateful for, and I chose to just stop my mind. I literally chose to, and it took work, and I'm still, practicing that every day. It never stops. That is the work. It's about truly being present and happy. It's not about inauthentic happiness and just being overly joyful. It's about truly feeling safe in the world every moment, no matter what, and not believing into the outside illusion, because you are creating. I always thought that, my feelings were predicting the future, but that is actually just because our bodies have natural biorhythms, because, of our DNA. Our bodies hold memory, so it takes a long time to break through those old belief systems and patterns. So, you might have fear come back up randomly. Well, that's an old story. It means you have a choice to feed into that energy, or you have a choice to create something more, because you're not predicting, you are creating. And so it is all about the power of choice. It's not about going through it to get to the other side. That is a lie. It is, to some it may be true, but it is because they are not seeing the broader truth that they are the one in the power seat. And you are simply facing the wrong direction, because as Abraham Hicks talks about, there is no bottom in therapy. You can go to therapy for years. There is no bottom line. There is not reaching the bottom. It just keeps going. And you get to a point where you say, is this what I am worthy of? Or am I worthy of happiness? And can I have it right here and right now? And is it always available to me? The answer is yes. And just as the sunflower, the sunflowers naturally face towards the sun. That is your natural state of being, and it's okay that you forgot. We wanted to experience these lessons. And I actually know on a soul level, I chose to experience every single lesson, because like I said, I remember when I was about 12, 13, how I told myself I wanted to experience the opposite spectrum. I wanted to experience the fear of death, so that when it happened, it couldn't harm me. That was actually, that's such a profound thing for a child to want to experience. It's such a brave thing. I simply remembered I was just facing the wrong way. I wasn't facing the sun, and you have that choice in every single moment. You can't continue to allow your past to be a crutch, because do you want attention, or do you want a solution? No one else can provide that for you. No coach can give that to you. You are the one who has to make that choice. And that's why I've kind of backed away from the readings, because I feel like they are causing so many people who mean well and want to change to focus in the wrong direction. And I do think that my readings provide benefit, but I still saw that so many people aren't getting the point of what a reading is used for. And it's, it's never about the other person, it's about you. So, I hope that this talk with you guys today is really helpful in regards to, the magic of your power and what you're really capable of. And the fact that, this journey, the work is really about daily mindfulness and a strong mental diet. You can't get anywhere by feeding into the old paradigm and mindset and self-pity. And, I think it's also a part of the process to allow yourself to feel those lows when they come, because, by truly being present, we are honoring our inner child that didn't get to feel heard or loved. By being present, we realize that those negative feelings are actually nothing outside of us. It is actually just what we are choosing to feel. And, that there's more, there's better. And when you can truly love yourself through each moment and be gentle with yourself and trust that you're perfect in all timelines, no matter where you are at, you know, that's the gold. And it's truly in this state that we can allow for union to manifest. You know, union is an eternal thing that happens. Union, there are billions of levels of union. There really is no true separation in the soul. Only what we perceive based on our own frequency and, you know, what we focus on or choose to remember. But there is no separation. And so it's not about being in a romantic relationship with the physical person. The more we focus on the physical person and what they're doing or not doing, which is really just a reflection of the immediate past, because everything is a little slower and denser in the 3D realm. So that's why we can't focus on the physical person. They will always show up as, you know, what we've perceived in the past. So we must focus towards the sun, towards source. And remember that connection that you feel with them in the heart space, because that is the true, you know, twin flame. That is who they truly are. And by focusing on that, you are showing the universe that you have faith, that they are that person, and you can allow them to show up more quickly in true alignment and harmony from that place, you know. And when you say you do the work and then you say, but where is my twin flame? You've immediately pulled yourself back out of alignment, because that is a energy of lack. So if you ask yourself that, it's showing you that you still have work to do, because when you truly know and you believe it with all your heart, you don't need the outside to show you. And it will happen. And it is a part of, you know, it's a part of, you know, divine timing, you know. And divine timing is just a reflection of the alignment of us with ourselves. You know, when you truly love someone, you don't have to worry about controlling the situation. You already know it's there. You don't miss it or long for it, because that is a state of lack. And, you know, so continue to be gentle with yourself and love yourself, and trust it is all about you. It's not about them. They are always with you as long as you allow them to be there. If you continue to say that they're not with me, then they can't show up for you, because you are, you know, you are placing that boundary on yourself by that self-belief and what you are telling yourself. You know, and that is where mental diet is a very important thing. That's why writing affirmations is very important, especially in the sense of, you know, not even necessarily writing about your twin flame, but focusing on you and what you're grateful for. Because the more you focus on specifics, the more likely you're going to start looking for those as evidence in 3D, and then you're going to piss yourself off again. And that is the very important key point of why, you know, they say not to focus on your twin's physical person. So anytime you're searching outside of yourself, just the way I did my whole life, searching for answers, you know, you will always be creating something to search for. You will always be placing yourself in the stance of chasing the carrot. And from that place, nothing can come to you. You know, but through true presence in each moment, that is the goal. That is when everything comes to you. When you no longer need anything You know, when you no longer need it, it'll show up right on your door, you know, in the path of least resistance. That is, you know, my biggest truth that I can tell you guys today. So, thanks so much for watching. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, feel free to go on my website at divinegoddessbeauty.com. I still do the one-on-one coaching, and you can purchase a reading as well. But like I said, this work is all about you, and that's really where I want to start focusing with my teaching and guidance and videos, is more so about, you know, focusing on the proper mindsets and, you know, the work, you know, helping you properly do the work. Okay, so again, feel free to book any service with me if you feel guided to work with me one-on-one. You will get the most, you know, most impact that way, because, you know, I only work with my clients one-on-one. As far as right now, I do not work in groups. I prefer to be able to give you my sole, you know, focus and guidance. And, you know, so that really is the best way. And then you have those teachings for years to come. You will always have access to those teachings in the online membership portal as well. But I do also provide products. I recently have launched my online shop, and one of the products here are sage bundles. So this is really high quality white sage. It is soft to the touch. I mean, soft like velvet. It is so soft. And I love white sage because it burns so easily, so nicely, and it has such a beautiful aroma and smell. This one I have not lit yet, but I will light it just to kind of show you how it burns. And I'm gonna try not to get this on my pizza rolls. I know they're cold by now. But you see that smoke? I mean, it is just, it lights so easily. Such a beautiful smell. Oh my gosh, this smells so good, guys. I'm just gonna smoke us out here. All right, sending you some good, loving smudge and energy, clearing out any heavy, dense energy around us. Beautiful. So those are available on the shop, and I do also have my very own homemade beauty skincare line that I have just launched as well, because that has kind of been another focus of mine, is, you know, really learning how to love the self, love your physical body. You know, it's not always about the, you know, spiritual aspects. You know, our physical body is our temple and our car, our vehicle, our soul vehicle, and we need to take good care of our bodies as well. You know, that means eating all the wonderful pizza rolls. I'm kidding, but no, I've been slacking this week. I have been on a workout program. I finished an 8-week workout and meal plan program. So right now I'm just kind of, you know, letting myself chill out and, you know, everything in balance. Okay, so that's why I'm kind of like, you know, I'm gonna let myself enjoy some pizza rolls this week. But as far as skincare, you know, the older I get, the more I'm focused on taking care of my skin, hydrating my skin. And so I have tons of awesome products. A hyaluronic acid anti-aging face cream with skin protection ingredients, all natural. All of my products are all natural. I have oil-based face cleansers, you know, anti-aging oil serum, hair growth oil. This is a oil that will help stimulate your hair follicles and your scalp, and is also really good for dry scalp and even dandruff. Helps relieve any sort of irritation, but it also hydrates the ends of the hair. I do have wonderful chapstick that's all natural, that I'm very particular with chapsticks, and so the older I get, the less I'm so much into makeup and more into just feeling hydrated and feeling, just complete all day hydration without, pore clogging ingredients. So all of my products that I use are very gentle on the skin. I do have a hand cream as well that is a little bit more thicker, that will help with dry hands, so it's something that my face cream is obviously more lightweight, but there's a lot of goodies on there if you want to check that out. I also have perfumes that are coming right now. They are not available on the website, but I do have them listed on there, so you can check them out and get familiar with those. And as well as I do have air freshener, room and linen sprays available. So lots of goodies on there. So check that out at divinegoddessbeauty.com. And again, you can follow me for free on Facebook in our private group, the Ultimate Twin Flame Union Mastery Program, so you can get daily affirmations, guidance, and support and inspiration to keep you focused in the right direction and keep you aligned with Source and the sun. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye.